If you're thinking about selling, you're going to want to hear this. Today we're breaking down what's happening locally in Summit County, whether now is the right time to list, and why trusting Zillow Zestimate could cost you. Let's jump in. Ever dreamed of living in the heart of the Colorado mountains? Join me, Matt Dayton, Breckenridge native, Olympian, and mountain real estate expert. Here on the Ski Summit Show, we dive into everything you need to know about buying, investing, and living in iconic ski towns like Breckenridge, Frisco, and Keystone. From mountain real estate trends to investment opportunities, we bring you on the inside to help you make the most of your mountain life. Hey, welcome. This is episode 157 of the Ski Summit Real Estate Show, and I'm behind the scenes with Benji, my producer. Hey, Benji, how you doing, buddy?
Doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing well. So let's jump into what's happening in Summit.
So what's happening in Summit County right now? We're talking about wildfires in Summit County. I guess it's a pretty hot topic.
No pun intended. Thank you for that intro. Yes, they're gonna have tacos and wildfire coming up here on the 30th. So this right now, and something that we want to be aware of as we head into the summer season. As a lot of people know, we've had a pretty low snowfall this winter, so that's going to factor in on wildfire, and people kind of need to be just educating themselves on how to do life this summer.
Cool beans. So what, they're going to meet up and just have tacos and talk with this place about potential risks or like what they should prepare for?
Yeah, educating the folks on what we're going to see, how to create defensible wildfire space around your home. That's really important. Obviously, people who want to go camping, they want to have backyard barbecues, backyard fires. So those are the things that we just all need to be aware of and responsible as a community and homeowners and visitors. Educating visitors really is going to be, I go out there sometimes when we got fire bans to go camping, and people will have campfires going, and I'm like Smokey the Bear. I get all upset.
What are you doing over here? Do you wear the hat and everything? You should.
Yeah, Fire Marshal Bill. I'm over there. Hey.
You do pretty good, Fire Marshal Bill.
So, all right. Yeah. So I plan to go check that one out.
Well, now that moves us into our listing of the week, and we are talking about 87 Audrey Circle. Let me pull that up real quick. And there it is.
All right. So great duplex. It was really funny. I was talking to my cousin who is a mortgage lender in California, and I was telling her about this listing, and I'm like, well, it's half of a duplex. She's like, you can buy half a duplex? And apparently that's more of a thing where we are than in a lot of other places. So they're deeded separately, each half of the duplex. So duplex is better than a house. A duplex is better than the townhouse because you own the property. You're only townhouses. You're usually where we are. You're oftentimes sharing a couple walls. So this is a duplex. You own half of it. A lot like being in a single family. Very similar, but great neighborhood. This is Farmers Grove neighborhood, which is so just pretty. Right between Breckenridge and Frisco. And this was actually my house for a few years.
I got all excited.
I sold this in 2003.
Way.
Yeah.
You like the changes that have been made to it since you've lived in it, or is it pretty much the same? Or
they've kept it really nice. I was amazed at the shape it's in. So yeah. But it's still got the wood floor I installed. These are some virtual images, virtually staged, but it's just so clean. The paint, everything is just really, really in good shape. And this huge walk-in closet, double sinks. It lived so well. So it was a great place. I kind of nostalgic. I miss it, raising my kids in there.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, tons of natural light in this place. It's very bright and warm feeling. Got a little backyard area where you can grill right off the kitchen, front porch there, south facing, so you're going to have lots of sun in the morning. And it's just such a great neighborhood. The kids would just go out the front door and they'd go play with the neighbor kids and felt safe. Key having that big garage, oversized one-car garage. You got mailboxes right in the neighborhood, so you can pick up your mail there. Rarely go to the post office. Big, huge open space area. There was that photo back of that one right there. That's like in the big, huge courtyard area right in the middle. Green space. The kids are like playing hide and seek out there. There's this playground. That's really cool, but it also is just kind of a quiet little setting. You got picnic tables out there and stuff. So fantastic floor plan on this one. Listed right at $1 million. It's over 1,400 square foot, 3-bed, 3-bath. So this is one that's centrally located. Get to 3 different ski areas within like 20 minutes. So yeah, it's primary place for local or a second home for somebody that just wants a place up here in Summit County that's easy to use and great spot. Close to Frisco, close to the lake, right on the rec path. I think it's a good one.
Very nice.
Yeah,
That's
it's very
cool.
nice.
I wasn't expecting to see that. I didn't know that you would be selling your own house again. That's crazy.
I know. I'm pretty excited to have that opportunity. I know everybody gets that chance. So I was glad they called me.
Now we're talking about our Summit County real estate news. Kindred grand opening finally. What is that all about?
Finally. So, gosh, this is like some of these folks have been over 5 years, they've been under contract on buying a Kindred. So, Kindred Resort in Keystone, this is going to be really fun to have. The article talks a lot about how it's been designed and created to really draw people in rather than just be private and exclusive. So the lawn games, there's a great restaurant there with a fantastic looking bar. They've got this wine barrel bar that's super cool. I really love that. But yeah, it's really they want to it's obviously open to the public. They've got condos and there's a hotel. So I plan on taking my wife there for happy hour. They're going to be doing live music sometimes there. That's manager right there. Dan Donner is his name. It's pretty cool. I'm pretty excited to get that open. It's right at the base of Gondola and River Run, and they're going to be coming on May 7th.
Oh, that's really quick.
Yeah. So
Are they all sold out already?
I think they are. I think I could check on that actually, but I think most of all of the new Kindred ones are. Maybe there's a couple, but they've really went for high dollar. So there are 7 that are still left and available.
I think we did a story about that recently.
Yeah, we did one. So there's 2-bath to 4-bath, ranging from $2,575,000 up to $5,350,000. So, but considering how many there were on the market, they're mostly sold out, ranging from about $2,000 a square foot to $2,600 a square foot. Luxury walk to right there next to the gondola. So wake up in the morning and
Coffee and ski.
Coffee and ski.
E2 coffee. What do you do?
Coffee and ski. You're ready to go.
That's funny.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, that moves us into our next segment where we're talking about the market in a minute. I'm going to get my head out of the way so people can actually read these graphs. But we're talking about, should I list my home now or wait?
Yeah. So that's kind of been the real topic of conversation with a bunch of my clients right now. They're just wondering, this is typically the slow time of the season. We're in mud season is what we call it. It's just this period where it's like there's not skiing. Things are usually still snowy. The weather's not really warmed up yet. And so we're kind of in this awkward in-between season time. So people aren't usually visiting a lot right now. However, our inventory, we're still only about 545 listings here is what this says. So our inventory is down 7.8% from last year. And so that is something to factor in. So maybe the demand's down a little bit right now this time of year. March was pretty good year over year. We saw a decent March, even though February was a bit slower. And so our inventory has not quite ramped up. We saw this last week's, actually pretty good demand with a number of new properties. Yeah, look at that. Things going under contract. So could be some indications of a really active summer selling season and some decent activity. I think that we are going to see a lot more listings coming on the market this summer.
Okay.
So yeah, I think we're going to see that. I mean, you can see here just this trend line as we get into like week 22 that inventory typically will go up. I think we're going to see this inventory climb up even more above where we were for the past 2 years in this area, just based on the activity that I'm seeing with my clients, the questions that I'm getting from people. So I think we're going to see a lot more listings come on this market this summer. So my thoughts are, if I was selling my property, I'd probably go ahead and get it on the market right now, take advantage of some of this kind of activity that we're seeing prior to this activity up here, where we're going to see that boost. That's my thought. And if I were a buyer, well, I might be patient and wait a little bit and see what more comes on the market, and see if it gets more competitive.
It's crazy. That new pendings thing is just off the charts.
It is. It is. It's pretty surprising to see that. So if that's just a little anomaly, or are we actually, is that kind of indicator of what we're going to see this summer? Interest rates are still a little bit on the higher side right now. So if we see a big change in that, I think we'll really see the demand tick up.
Well, I'm excited for both. That brings us into, should you trust Zillow's estimate? I kind of wonder this myself, but give me the bad news. I know there's bad news in here. What is it?
Oh man, so I was just listening to something here, and it was saying that Zillow lost $800 million buying homes with their own algorithm.
Lost 800 million?
Yeah, like investing in homes, that they lost 800 million. So I got to dive a little deeper into that to see what that means.
Okay.
But it also said that they lost 40 billion in stock value using their tool for investments. So, and then lastly, the CEO sold his house for 40% less than the Zestimate. So I get people all the time saying, "Hey, Zillow said my house is worth this. What do you think?" And we dive into it, and oftentimes we find that Zillow is off. And the long and short of it is, you cannot rely on a tool that is just pulling data from the internet to figure out what your home is worth.
Yeah.
It'd be one thing if you lived in a neighborhood with tract homes that, there's 1,000 of these homes.
Yeah.
And they're all the same, and they all look right at the neighbor's house the same, and they all have the same finishes, and they all have the same sun exposure, and it's like, but we don't live in this bubble. And especially here in the mountains, it's like houses are very, very different.
Yeah, they're all unique up there.
Absolutely. And so just because your neighbor's houses all sold for $600 a square foot, but your house has a different setting, different finishes, different quality of work. These are all things that just factor in, that can make significant differences in
So
the
I'm
value.
just curious, does that mean that the owner of Zillow was using his tool to boost the value of his home or inorganically so it would sell for more than it's worth?
You wonder.
Yeah, okay. That's what it sounded like. It just took me a minute to do the math in my head.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes we'll see like a Zestimate here, and then we list the property, and we've come up with, hey, the value of the property is actually more than what the Zestimate says. So we list the property up here, and then Zillow goes bloop, oh, the Zestimate's up here now. You're like, you just stole my work.
Yeah.
And just used it in your algorithm, and now so now the house is worth more because we said it is, and it's skewed. It doesn't work. And so bottom line is, you really need a professional to help you come up with what that value is and what the market will support. You got to be realistic too. You list your house up here and the market's going to support something here, you're just going to sit and wait. So, the question is, how long do you want your house to be on the market? How long do you want this to take?
I think most people want it done pretty dang quickly.
I've sold my own houses, and it's not fun. It's
No.
like, yeah, you're like, you want a showing, you gotta like pack up everything, the kids, go to Whole Foods, and then they call and say, oh, they drove by and decided they didn't want to see it. That sort of thing. So it's not a fun process. We try to make it as painless as possible, but it definitely is. It's disruptive to your life. So the longer it takes, the less fun it is.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, that's it. That's all I've got for the show today.
Awesome. Thanks, Benji. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Please give us a thumbs up and like and subscribe. We always appreciate that. If you have any questions on what's going on in our market, we'd love to do a little deeper dive with you. Always here, happy to help. Take care, and we'll see you next time.